This is Colin McGuigan for IFLTV. Delighted to be joined by Napper, fresh off his vacation in Egypt. How was your time in Libya and Egypt?
Libya was cool. Jerome Pampalone had a world title eliminator and fought for the interim title. Didn't win, but career highest payday. Didn't come out the ring with any major injuries, so he'll come again.
How did you actually start this getting? I know you obviously worked with Chris, right? But you've a number of fighters now, and even on this card you've Abraham Nova. How did that all come about?
True hustler, my guy. True hustler. Now look, I've been a hardcore boxing person for a long time, and I remember one day I was talking to Chris. I was telling him what to do. I was just like, well, not like telling him what to do as in he should listen to what I'm saying, but I've always been saying stuff to him. I'd be like, yo, this guy's ranked #1. They're gonna strip this guy, then this, and then like he was just looking at me and he was like, you know way too much about boxing to not be making money from it, or something along them lines, and it like stuck with me. And then later on we started talking about working together with Nova and himself and getting some more fighters, and then it all started. And then I love boxing, so I just reach out to people that I feel like I can help, and
So let's talk about Abraham Nova. How did that relationship come apart? Obviously, he's someone that's predominantly fought in the US, top-ranked fighter, had some big fights in his career already. How did you and him kind of come together?
I've got mutual friends with Tevin Farmer and Jermaine Ortiz, so that's how it all came together.
In terms of Abraham, get him this opportunity, late notice, massive career, someone that he's been talking about fighting for a while, and I think he actually told Cougar in an interview today that he was offered this fight six months ago maybe, but the money wasn't right at the time.
So I wasn't working with him then, but he told me that. But as soon as Kakachi pulled out, I reached out, put his name in the hat, and it came off.
You confident that he can upset the odds against Ray Ford? Obviously a very good fighter, and a lot of people would say that Ray Ford's kind of on a trajectory towards maybe like a tank fight. Do you think that Abraham Nova this weekend can upset the odds?
He's definitely got the ability to do it. Whether he will do it will depend on whether he executes the game plan correctly, because Raymond Ford's a very good fighter, very skillful, fast, sharp. So he needs to make sure that Raymond doesn't fight the fight he wants, and he makes Raymond fight the fight that Nova wants. That's the only way.
If he was to win this fight, would you look at running it back with O'Shaki Foster, or for him, or do you maybe look at the likes of a tank fight down the line? Is that something that you would be working together on?
Yeah, there'll be a lot of options, even maybe a Brit on the Eubank undercard, who knows? Let's get this out of the way first, and then after that there'll be a whole load of options, and I'll speak to him, see what he wants. If it's Foster, if it's Kakachi in the UK or whatever, we'll see. We need the win first.
You mentioned Eubank there. Talk to me a little bit about the whole deal coming together with Turkey, Eddie Hearn. At one point, the Ring magazine seller kind of came out with a statement to say that they're no longer interested. Do you then have to pick it up at that point, or is it like Ben Shalom and Boxer have to pick it up? What way does that work?
Yeah, I had to really go in the bag, me and the team make some phone calls, put things right. There was just a misunderstanding with a few things behind the scenes to why it didn't work out for September. But once everything was explained clearly, everything got patched up and we've made it work for November.
First of all, why not September? What was because it did look for a number of weeks that was kind of done deal, really.
Yeah. If I be 100% honest, it's like I have to say this person's name and that person's name and throw someone under the bus, and it's not really something I want to do. I'm not really too bothered about that. I'm more just happy that it's done now. I'm more happy that Conor took the fight and it worked for him. Happy that Matchroom didn't try to look for other options. Happy that it works for Chris and works for us, and let's go.
So I interviewed Eddie 3-4 days ago, and he said that all of the terms remained the exact same. Was there ever a point that you tried to change the weight restrictions on Chris? Because a lot of people obviously seen the images of Chris and looked as if he did have a tough time making the weight and making that rehydration. Is that something that you did discuss at all?
Eddie made it very clear he didn't want to change the weight. Like, of course, we would have loved it to be on better terms, but as Chris said at the press conference, he got an incentive to do it in the first place, and we run it back on the same terms. But again, this favours Conor Benn, so when Chris gets the win, I don't want to hear any talk about, oh, it was a welterweight or etc. He needs his credit. He needs to be given the respect for putting it off twice.
Is it fair to say that this is actually going to be a lot easier on Chris mentally because his father came that night and kind of changed the narrative? So going forward, will his father be around this time? Do you know? Is he going to be around with Chris the whole camp this time? Because that's obviously going to take a little bit of a mental burden off him.
I don't think he'll be around the camp. Hopefully, he'll probably be at the fight. I don't think it changes anything mentally on him. He's mentally one of the strongest guys I know. He went through a lot leading up to that fight. That it's up to him if he ever wants to share it. And he still performed the way that he did. The guy is something else. So yeah, I don't think it's going to make a difference.
Obviously, if Conor was to win this fight, no doubt there would be a trilogy. But if Chris is to win and kind of put it to bed at 2-0, do you look at Canelo Crawford and say that that's kind of the fight that you would be targeting next?
Yeah, Chris would only be interested in names, other mega names. You don't want to fight any prospects, any potentially good guys. So he'll be looking at world champions, former world champions, pay-per-view fights. Canelo's definitely top of the tree.
In interviews, Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith have kind of suggested that boxer aren't really involved. That's been the suggestion, right? They've never actually said it, but they've suggested boxer aren't really involved with Chris. Can you clarify what the situation is?
They are. We're in a partnership. But what it is that final decision is by Nova and Chris himself. That's all that is. So like normally with a promoter, the promoter has the rights and can speak on behalf of the fighter, whereas this is boxer and ourselves. So it's not like they're not involved, but Chris decides on what's happening, and ourselves, Nova Sport, we have the last say, if that makes sense.
Is there anything going to change in the lead up to this? Is Chris going to remain with the same training team, exactly the same everything, or is there anything that you can tell us that's going to change in the lead up to this?
We've had a few talks about a few stuff, but he's just flew out and coming back to Dubai on Sunday. I get to Dubai on Sunday, so I'm going to sit down with him and plan it all out. But pretty much the same.
Did we ever see him kind of going back into that Bomac camp, or is that kind of just done now? Because I know that was, a lot of people said, very beneficial for Chris.
Yeah, Bomac. This is my thing about the whole Canelo fight, because I know how good Bomac is and his team, and him having Crawford makes me feel like they might pull off something special, because they only had Chris for 3 weeks. You know that, right? Literally, after the Errol Spence fight, they flew over to the UK, worked with Chris for a little bit, and they made a big difference. But let's see, because I know that they're probably caught up in the whole Crawford-Canelo fight, so it's very difficult to get any type of conversations out of them. But Jonathan Banks has done a great job. Jonathan Banks is a world-class trainer himself, and up to date, he hasn't done anything wrong. And everything he says sort of comes off. And he's like a teacher. I rate Jonathan, so we don't have any qualms with him at the moment.
What do you think of Moses Itauma, Dillian Whyte? Who wins that fight, Napper?
It's tough. It's like, if Dillian fights like his last fight, he ain't winning. He probably knows that because he's in a way better shape. So, don't take a genius to figure that out. If Dillian fights like he's fought in the past, it's difficult because I don't know the ceiling of Moses Itauma. All I know is up until now, he's the best 20-year-old I've ever seen the UK produce. Like, AJ wasn't as good as him at 20. Even Lennox Lewis wasn't as good as him as 20. They weren't taking the steps and they weren't taking out people as good as he is now. Nor was Tyson Fury, nobody, like Frank Bruno, none of them. So in terms of up to where he is right now, it's like this is potentially the next best thing. How good, we don't know. So it's quite difficult for me to say, is the best of Moses Itauma going to beat the best of Dillian Whyte, because I don't know how good Moses Itauma is. So it's not a fight that I would bet on. It looks like this is about to be the greatest heavyweight the country's ever produced. It looks that way. But if he's not, this is the wrong fight to take. So that's what makes it exciting. That's why everyone's going to tune in.
Well, before I let you go, I seen some comments on Instagram, a little back and forth between you and Billy Joe, right? I think he called you a professional bag carrier or something. You responded with a comment where you said, make sure you're ready for next year. Is that still something that Billy Joe, like we might see Billy Joe and Chris Eubank?
Let's see. That guy is just one fat, lazy cunt. I don't know. Let's see. I can't decide what he's going to do, what he's not going to do.
Well, like you sit with Chris, right? He's been retired for a while. Chris, say Chris does beat Conor Benn and goes to 2-0. Is that something that motivates Chris though?
What, the Billy Joe fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. He mentions it. He mentions that fight a lot. It'll be a big fight. It's not a secret. Me and Billy Joe do not like each other at all. Never will like each other. But it is a big fight. It's a fight that people will tune in to see, and I would love nothing better than seeing Chris eyeing him out. But a lot of things have got to happen before that. First of all, we've got to figure out if the guy can still run on the treadmill, if the guy can fucking still skip, fucking without breaking the floor pads. We don't know. He's fucking overweight, looks like a Krispy Kreme donut. So let's see.
Well, Napper, appreciate your time as always on IFLTV. Look forward to catching up this weekend and best of luck with Abraham Nova. Appreciate it, mate.